If you were a child of the 80s, like I was, no doubt you would have come up and heard that song, and you would have sung. You would have got really excited when you heard that because it meant that Growing Pains was going to start. And that was BJ Thomas and Jennifer Warnes. I actually discovered that Dusty Springfield also was part of that. So what am I talking about? Well, BJ Thomas, the voice behind that song, he passed away. He was 78, and so this is from The Guardian, and he announced in March he had lung cancer. And he had lots and lots of hits, Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, Hooked on the Feeling. He had that one. He also did a gospel-style cover of Hank Williams on So Lonesome I Could Die. He also had many gospel songs as well. So this was BJ Thomas. He died due to complications of lung cancer, it is reported. His full name, Billy Joe Thomas, and his gospel-style cover of Hank Williams on So Lonesome I Could Cry went on to sell millions of records. Home Where I Belong became one of the first gospel albums to sell more than 1 million copies. Diane Warwick says, wrote my sincere condolences to the family of one of my favourite duet partners, BJ Thomas. So I'll miss him, as I know many others will. Rest in peace, my friend. Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head was heard from everywhere, from The Simpsons to Forrest Gump. It was voted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2013. Thomas would say the phenomenon of Raindrops exacerbated an addiction to pills and alcohol, which dated back to his teens, when a record producer in Houston suggested he take amphetamines. He was touring and recording constantly and taking dozens of pills a day. By 1976, or Hey, Won't You Play, another Somebody Done Somebody Wrong song was hitting number one. He felt like he was number 1,000. I was at the bottom of my addictions and my problems, he said in 2020. He started a spiritual awakening shared with his wife, Gloria Richardson, helping him get clean. Thomas had a few pop hits after the mid-70s and continued to score on the country charts with songs like Whatever Happened to Old Fashioned Love and New Looks from an Old Lover. And he had won 2 Dove Awards and 5 Grammys. It was fans of the 80s. Growing Pains heard him as the singer of the theme song. He also acted in some movies. He married Richardson in 1968, had 3 daughters, Paige, Nora, and Erin. He and his wife worked on a 1982 memoir, In Tune, Finding How Good Life Can Be. His book, Where I Belong, came out in 1978 and was co-authored by Jerry B. Jenkins, later famous for the Left Behind religious novels with Tim LaHaye. So he was just performing. I think just recently I saw it on his Facebook. So this is from the New York Times. So he lives in Arlington, Texas. Lung cancer was the. So that's they're putting a clip here of him doing Raindrops. That's his. I tried to give the soft pop a sound, a natural, relaxed feeling, Mr. Thomas said in Home Where I Belong, a memoir written with Jerry B. Jenkins. Guess that's why my records always cross over and are good sellers on the pop and rock charts as well as country. He's set to Presley's romantic crooning notwithstanding. Mr. Thomas cites the music of black R&B singers like Little Richard and Jackie Wilson as his greatest inspiration. So he talks about, again, this article talks about the fact that he learnt redemption the hard way. He struggled for a better part of 10 years with dependence on drugs and alcohol that almost destroyed his marriage. Got clean in the mid-70s. So, and then it goes into his background. The family was poor, a condition exacerbated by his father's violent temper and drinking. As an adolescent, BJ, as he'd come to be called in Little League baseball, sang in the Baptist church he was singing. While attending high school, Henry's older brother Jerry joined a local pop combo, the Triumphs, and Mr. Thomas singing lead. In 1966, after 3 years of playing at dances and American Legion halls with the band, had its first hit with the rendition of Hank Williams' I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry. So he did lots of duets with lots of people. So this article talks about, despite the persistence and severity of his alcohol and drug use, Mr. Thomas's recordings remained a constant top hit. 3 years earlier, Mr. Thomas had enjoyed an extended run at the Copacabana in New York, brought about by the runaway success of Hooked on a Feeling. He started on the path of recovery after converting to Christianity in the mid-70s, a period in which he reconciled with his wife Gloria after repeated separations. In 1977, following a year or so in recovery, he sang at the memorial service for Presley. His death had largely been attributed to excessive use of prescription medication. Thomas continued to make albums and tour in the 2000s. Over the years, he sang and testified at large evangelical crusades of Billy Graham and other large religious gatherings. He's survived by Gloria Richardson Thomas, wife of 53 years. And this is what he said. The greatest compliment a person could pay my music is to listen and sing along with it and think that he can sing just as good as me, Mr. Thomas said in his memoir, alluding to the accessibility of his performances. He probably can't, of course, or he'd be in the business, but I want it to sound that way anyway. So thank you. So on behalf of Joe's Choir, the members and subscribers, we just want to pass our deepest condolences to the Thomas family and thank them for sharing their husband and father and grandfather with the world. And wow, you know, another one gone. Very impactful. As I said, I actually have one of his gospel albums, and they're just beautiful. So as we go out, we're gonna finish listening to the theme from Growing Pains. As long as we keep on giving, we can take anything that comes our way. When there ain't no shine all the time, we got each other.